we meet again, as we have been doing for the last 2 decades, year after year. We started the fight way back, even before 1981, that one-man demonstration in Floriana against Marxist blacks, Mugabe. And with that demonstration, we stunned the country. Nobody expected it, you see, one man against 100. And we galvanized those individuals who felt like us, but they were alone, isolated, thinking they are alone, because that's what the enemy does. He wants to brainwash you into thinking that you're alone. That was a clarion call. People, certain individuals who felt like us, I'm not alone. And they started approaching us. That's how it started. That's 1981. But actually, 10 years before, I went to Rhodesia because I felt something was wrong with the world. I asked, why is it that this country, beautiful country, led by high-quality people, the Rhodesians, why has it been voted almost unanimously in the United Nations as a threat to world peace? Rhodesia, a threat to world peace. So I decided to see for myself, and I went to Rhodesia twice, 1971 and 1981, and saw the crucifixion of this country. 300,000 whites against the whole world. 80 million blacks supported by the Chinese and the Russians. And I talked to certain people validly, and I opened my eyes as to this Moloch, this hidden force, this diabolical force inciting everybody against whites and only against whites. So the fight started in 1971, but we came open. We stood out in 1981, and it shook a lot of people, and they started coming towards us. Last year's speech, last year, after the MEP election, was truly remarkable. It explained the political situation in Malta, an island in shambles. And our low-quality people will now enjoy the bitter fruit of their stupid vote. And all we have to do is to endure. The people will come begging to us to save them. Just as the Romans begged Cincinnatus to save them from the attacking Etruscans, which he did twice. We come to the year 2024. The initiation of Terence to the Order of the Shining Knighthood, an elite order limited to 44 members, whose mission, whose only task is the preservation of the sacred gene pool. The sacred gene pool is the kernel of our race and civilization. If it is lost, then everything is lost. And humanity will return to the cave. And that's for those who were present during that initiation, una cerimonia di iniziazione, una investitura indimenticabile. Now, a brief history of our struggle. February 1981, a bolt from the blue. As I said, in Floriana. That was 1981. A gap, and we now come to the year 2000 to 2008. Ave Melita, our website, was closed to us. Closed. Abruptly. A stab in the back by a PN mole, one of the original 7 core group. Viva Malta was launched within 24 hours. In the year 2000, Credo was published. The Imperium Europa website uploaded and updated. A flurry of racial hatred cases, all under the Gonze regime, followed. Dak il-biċċa ex-president tal-Azzjoni Kattolika bissu parafrasu idaħħaq in-nies marjelawhom ġo sinagoga. Disgraceful. And the pompous and stupid top judge, in his constitutional capacity, sentenced us to the maximum penalty. Judge Guintano killed freedom of thought, of expression, and the diffusion of ideas. Ha ucciso la libertà di pensiero, la libertà di parola, la libertà di diffusione del pensiero. He has to live with that for the rest of his life. And Dr. Emi Benzina defended us all those years, 7 years, till Awnisel il-Qorti. He defended us without charging us a penny. We of Imperium Europa owe Dr. Emi Benzina a debt of eternal gratitude. There he is. He deserves an applause. Formidabile, Emi. And nonostante all those racial hatred cases, we still stood for the MEP elections. And we got 1,600 votes against all odds, with the whole establishment screaming, spitting their hate towards us. 2005, January, the SAFI meeting. This was our breakthrough. What a classic. As you see, kien hemm ix-xufier tax-xaraba. U nalla ġie. Għax konvinċejni. Konvinċejni. U minn dikinar sal-lum baqajat. Norman Lowell għandu raġun. Imdalla ġibina. After the Safi speech, we were invited a number of times to New Right conferences all over Europe. 2009, a successful year, MEP elections. We got 4,600 votes. Yes. What a winning team we had. If only these people had opened their eyes and voted for us, we would have been there as leaders in Europe. What a winning team. But inutili. The whole establishment got rattled. We published the Imperium Europa book. Where is Peter? Yes. We published the whole Imperium Europa book, and it sold rather well. It complemented Francis Parker Yogi Imperium, a masterpiece by Francis Parker Yogi, and we carried on where he left off. In 2010, December, our book, that's Francis Parker Yogi, a masterpiece in geopolitics, a must read to all of us. In 2010, our book was reprinted in a less expensive format by Actos. And we also launched, at the same time, our unitary banner. This banner, the Malta Cross, two swastikas, dextroverse and sinistroverse joined together, will be the unitary banner for Imperium Europa. The Imperium was announced publicly in March on Bondi Plus. How striking, very good. The whole island watched that program. And I remember I spoke about the complete man, l'individuo assoluto. Art. Death. Eternal recurrence. And my love for women. There she is.
Our journal.
My love for women. All of them. One at a time. Imperium Manifesto was launched by Caius Marcus, a great book tackling the nitty-gritty of Imperium. It complements our Imperium. So Francis Parker Yockey, Norman Lowell, and Caius Marcus. And our two books, Caius Marcus and ours, two Romanesque marble pillars on which Imperium Europa stands. In October 2010, we had our fourth speech in London at the London Forum. It was a splendid success. We promoted Imperium Europa as the only ideology for a white worldwide imperium. 2011, we tackled Imperium cosmology. We spoke about Serrano, invitations from top. We tackled Imperium cosmology, Serrano, the ultimate avatar, translated by a veritable Superman, Brother Francis, who honors us by entrusting us with the foreword of this book, a deep, mysterious, mystical book. He defined or described our foreword as perfection. A bevy of international websites, Euronews, Financial Times, invitations to gatherings by various groups all across Europe. There, the previous one, the baton of destiny was ready on the very day, the 26th December, a defining day where the dark age of Kali Yuga made way and ushered Krita Yuga, the golden dawn. And on that same day, then the baton was ready we launched the Imperium. 26 December 2012, such an important day. We launched the Imperium at a sacred site, a Neolithic site unknown to the authorities. Indimenticabile, a transcendental experience at one with the cosmic force. 2013, February 9th video, Imperium Europa, the idea. It was rated the best. It was rated the best right-wing video worldwide. Why? Because we are imbued with an overwhelming sense of a political mission. We are inspired. This has to be kept in mind. Keeping the jewel, as in Zen, a burning sense of a political mission. Both Hitler and Stalin were outsiders, born on the periphery of large geopolitical entities, as we are in Malta, a peripheral island to West Europe, this peninsula really. So Malta è provinciale. Malta è sempre stata provinciale. Both of them did not limit themselves to their roots, Austria, Georgia. Both embraced a larger vision, the Third Reich and the Soviet Union. We too have a vision beyond Malta, and i.e. Imperium Europa, embracing a white, worldwide imperium. Yes, we must retain that overwhelming sense of this political mission. 2014, a lot happened. MEP elections, 7,335 votes, double those of the previous election. Prelude, we wrote the prelude to suprahumanism. The author, a diplomat of a major country, European country, called us the godfather of the book. A great book. We also wrote the foreword to the ultimate avatar, an arduous undertaking. Successfully completed. In August 2014, we were at the London Forum. We spoke of Serrano. What a success it was. April 2015, forward to Serrano's other book, Maya. Brother Francis was so pleased. On the 29th July, my birthday of 2015, we had our usual gathering. The futility of Parliament. Il popolo non riconosce nessuna autorevolezza f'dak il-maqjem. poplu mitlub, tradut. Bla mexxej, without a shepherd. We spoke about this at Monte Cristo. What an evening it was. Ma ħadd ta' Malta li l-poplu jista' jħares il-fuq leħ, li jispiraħ, jiggwidaħ, joħorġu da questo mondo tutto al rovescio. Un mondo senza il sacro, la gerarchia, un mondo giudaico. We will restore a revolutionary conservative outlook on the whole of the Imperium, throughout the Imperium. It is our priority. All else is folly. Only Imperium Europa in Brussels can do this. We will eradicate the madness of equality, communism, squalid socialism, all underpinned by a Judaic Christianity. We will push for a positive Christianity, just pertinent lines from the prophet Christ, an avatar. We will do away with the Old Testament, that compendium of Jewish lies, as Voltaire, the darling of the liberals, defined it. The Old Testament, second only to the Talmud. Two evil books. Both Judaic, both full of malice, a hatred towards all humanity, especially us, Europeans. In 2016, I undertook a change in lifestyle. I sought peace and freedom, the ability to look ahead, to live as a political philosopher, living life simply and frugally. A rustic and rural life, ħajja sempliċi, serena, sabiħa, complemented by agriturismo in Sicily. 2017, consolidation, growing confidence, a pilgrimage to Birch's Garden, a spiritual experience, standing by the hero, head held high, defying the Jews. Then came the MEP elections 2019. We searched for a much-needed local leader. During those elections, we dominated the immigration issue. We got over 9,000 votes. A seeming success, although at the time I commented, a miss is as good as a mile. 2020, 9th February, annual gathering, a great speech. We stood aghast. We read in disbelief Dr. Joseph Muscat's opinion on some paper. Israel must be allowed into the EU. What madness. With that statement, Dr. Joseph Muscat, Prime Minister, showed, revealed that he has no idea of high politics, of high culture, just money, money, money. No idea as to who the real enemy is. That is the enemy. Indaħlu l-Izrael fiju, indaħlu 2 miljun ġurdin ta' dranaċ ġodarna, indaħlu 2 miljun professur ta' ċingi, jew 2 miljun xufir ta' xarabank, 2 Sefardi, Marannos, Spanjoli, Mizrahi, li l-antenati tagħhom ħarbu minn Spanja, minn Isabella l-Grande, u ġewaw jimpestawna u jinfestawna. Dem ħażin. The day after, on the 10th, that was the 9th, on the 10th of that same year, 2020, we published Jesus the Usurper, murderer of Christ. I was the happiest man in Malta on that day. The book is smart, with an impact cover, and it is still selling rather well. We had 8 Settembre at the monument to 2020. We laid the best wreath. Our gratitude to our ancestors who shed their blood for the whole of Europe. And we drove the point home. What was needed as a third party. Convergenze parallele. Partito Popolare was launched. Its leader, Chevalier Paul Salamone. Now, it is up to Sir Terence and Chevalier Salamone to tackle, it's up to them to tackle, hammer out the cross-voting issue, retaining our respective identity, but mutually supportive. We had the Julius Evola lecture, a masterful delivery by Dr. Marius Govinda, Professor of Oriental Studies. The Julius Evola Foundation, whose chairman is Julius Evola's nephew, well, he wrote to me, and he expressed his gratitude and appreciation for our initiative. All merit to Govinda. Now, like Julius Evola, we believe in radical conservatism. We believe in the principles of radical conservatism. And what are these principles of radical conservatism? Very simple. All those principles that any well-bred person before the French Revolution, that satanic cataclysm, took as normal. All those principles before the French Revolution, planned and pushed by the Rothschilds in London and the Freemasons, any well-bred person took those principles as normal, and they are our principles. We hold them as normal. 2021, somebody pushed me to open a Facebook page, got thousands of followers, thousands. And of course, Norman Lowell was banned, which means I was doing some good. That's the only weapon of the Jews, you see. Facebook is Jewish. That's the only weapon, censorship, banning, jail for doubting the holy hoax. 6 years in jail in 16 countries all over Europe if you doubt that biggest lie since the Virgin Mary. So we were banned. I was given some 100 days to make an appeal, which I refused to do. We will never, ever ban the Jews, ever. Their place is at the bottom of the dung heap. And in the coming Imperium, that is where they will stay. The Imperium will banish them to Madagascar because nobody wants them. Nobody in the world wants them. They have nowhere to go except that spit of land, that island. And we will quarantine them there to fleece each other. And we shall see whether the parasite can live without a host. 2022, Terence was keen on standing for the elections, MEP elections. He was learning fast. Quiet persuasion was all that was needed. I placed my trust in him, as I still do. He is leadership material. 2024, finally, last year. MEP elections, 9,000 votes. A slight reduction from the previous MEP. Of course, it was jumped upon by the Zionist circus media. The media in Malta, all the English-speaking media in Malta is Zionist. And they rejoiced at that slight reduction of ours. Especially Malta Today. Kulħadd jaf minnu tal-Malta Today, l-iktar bnidem skifus ta' Malta, minn dejjem kien skifus dak, minn meta kien fil-St. John's Rescue Brigade or whatever. Kien ġenninhom, he was loathed by everybody. Tajdlem ma inti Norman kif taf 40 sena ilu. Of course li naf, għax I was a friend of tal-Marquis Buttigieg Shapiro, who was the commander of the St. John's Rescue Service or whatever. U kien jgħidli ġenninhom Norman. They can't stand him. And besides, he is a social climber of the worst kind. Baqa, sakemm iżżewweġ it-tifla tal-Grand Prix tal-Prussja ma nafx minn il-Madonna, baħħa kemm iż-żewġ it-tifla. And some of us know the shabby ending of that. U fil-programm tiegħu għal Lowell qed imajna. Kien hemm guest dan u bid-daħqa għal Lowell intefa. Laqas jgħaddu 4 ijiem intefa hu. Famous last words. Anyway, u dan iskifus kellu a running battle ma' Daphne. A running battle jgħadu bejnietom. L-iskifus u l-iskifuza. Illum żewġ deqtates ġo xkora, scratching each other. U di at one point, Daphne, għaltlu, you've got the face of a pig's ass. Għandek wiċċek isu zorn ta' għażus. Ma tajt veru jole. Peter, ġibilna l-iskifus, please. L-iskifus. Għal-marelli, veru. Veru. La. Ja ħasra. Tal-biza.
We have the last.
Għalix, naqqasna ftit voti aħna. Għalix. Għalix il-professur Kassola misled the voters. He stood for the MP elections without ever mentioning a word about Europe. Nothing. Jiġri bil-kamera rad-dranaċċa, għara ġurdin tal-Ibram ma' fuq il-bridge. Never spoke about Europe and the problems that really mattered. U dal-poplu stupidu il-votaj. U dawk il-voti li kienu ġejjin għanna ħadhom dal-professur tal-bigilla. While in Europe, right-wing parties are leading, winning elections on the cusp of a continental victory and world power, dal-poplu ignorant, dal-muglu, ivvota lil-professur u lil-faċċola. I'm now leaving Terence to handle TV debates and whatnot, and leaving him, throwing him into those debates was not a mistake. It was an investment. It gave him confidence in himself and prepared him for leadership. And he rose to the occasion. It was an investment. 29 July last year, initiation of Terence into the Order of the Shining Knighthood, an order limited to 44 knights in shining armor. A great privilege to belong to this elite, the best of the best, tasked with the mission, the sole purpose of saving the sacred gene pool. If it is lost from its nation, then all is lost. That is why the eternal enemy, dawk il-ġrieden ta' dranaċ, push for race mixing for everybody, except themselves, of course, in order to destroy this sacred gene pool, the kernel of everything. 44 years of struggle to open the eyes of our naive people. misled by a Zionist media like Ishufir, making tables at Merchant Street a main issue just before the election. Il buffo, deflecting, alienating the people from the real issues that really matter. U dal-poplu ġaħan u ġifa, il-vota fuq is-siġġijiet dal-muglu. Taċċingu x-xufier, żewġ sefardi discendenti diretti tal-Farizej, Mizrahi, Marannos, disruptive and destructive. Both of them ħażin, mibbeda li ma bħala lejn il-poplu li aċċettom l-antenatu tagħhom f'nofsna. Oxrin sena dat-tnejn jisqu l-velenu, ikkissru is-sisien tal-kultura Maltija maġuna tul iż-żminijiet minn misserietna, mibbeda li twildu biha, ma jistawx jagħmlu mod ieħor qiegħda fihom. Taż-żewġ tiġrieden tad-dranaġġ, demm ħażin. Kellna żewġ interviews ma' Mosey. The post-mortem of the election. It was so well received. On the 8th September, l'8 settembre, I gave what I consider the best speech of my life. Ottoltom peso sullo stomaco. Guerra occulta, Isabella di Spagna, San Simeone. I had to give such a controversial speech. I just had to. We have to blare the truth from rooftops. Expose and confront the world enemy. Questo mondo giudaico, l'ado eterno, questo mondo in cui stiamo vivendo, this Jewishness, this source of all evil, l'ado eterno, dejjem moħbi, letali. Dik il-pesta fuq l-umanità, is-saħta satanika fuq dil-pjaneta. Only we of Imperium Europa understand the real nature of the struggle. And now, let the people enjoy their vote. Push the falling statue. Retreat into solitude. Away from the flies in the marketplace. We have done all we could. We fought against great odds kontra l-Knisja Kattolika, dik il-ġagbina tal-poplu. Kontra żewġ partiti, dawk iż-żewġ prostituti lesbiċi taħt il-gverda fl-imkien jaqilbu għal xulxin ġo dak il-maqjel. Kontra il-medja zionista u kontra dawk l-NGOs, dawk il-bassaza li fl-aħħar sabu xi ħaġa xi jagħmlu bħajjithom. Let this childish Arab-speaking people sink into chaos. this unfolding tragedy. Let them be displaced by invading aliens. Dal-poplu li ma jridx jitgħallem. Ma jridx jitgħallem dal-bestja. Now, it is up to my successor, Sir Terence, to carry on the fight as he thinks best. I will not interfere, though I will always be available to give advice if asked for it. And though I will remain as founder and president, because that's how the core group designated me, founder, yes, I'm the founder of Imperium Europa after all. President, I have to gulp it down. No, I'm not so happy with it, you see. I'm in the company of President Idi Amin, President Joe Biden. But I also am in the company of two strong presidents, Donald Trump and Putin. Trump, who knows the enemy and who should be champing at the bit to give them the what for. He knows that 76% of Jews voted for Joe Biden. This is their gratitude for Trump moving the American embassy to Jerusalem. They had been moaning for a century for somebody to do it, and he did it. And this was their gratitude. They voted for Trump, for Joe Biden. He knows, Trump knows, of course he knows. They were behind the ears of media attacks. All the TV channels, newspapers in America. Years of vilification, unrelenting vilification and denigration. Court cases, indictments, lies by women accusing him of sexual harassment 17 years later on the eve of the election. He knows they were behind it. And 2 assassination attempts. And they will try again, and 3rd time lucky. And his ill-considered warning to Iran not to try assassinating him, it gives the Jews the perfect excuse for a false flag attempt. And they will blame Iran, and he will nuke Iran, whites against whites, because Iran is Aryan. The Persians, the Aryan people, land of the Aryans. Some of the most beautiful women in the world are Iranian. They're whites, Caucasians. And he will nuke them at the behest of the Jews. And now, to cap it all, Trump is handing the Gaza Strip to the Jews on a silver platter. No wonder Netanyahu had that smirk from ear to ear as Trump spoke. Jews will swarm over the Sunset Strip with its casinos and hotels and take it over in a couple of years. It's next door to their best hole. They took over the USA. They took over Britain, the most Judaized country in the world since Cromwell, because Edward I, the Hammer of the Scots, booted them out because he saw the grave danger they posed to Great Britain, and Cromwell brought them in so that they financed his Puritan revolution against the monarchy. And the price he had to pay, he had to become a king killer. Regicide. He beheaded Charles I. That's the price. Taking over Gaza will be child's play for them. It's so easy for them. And it's all being built by Bubus Americanos. They don't have to fight for it. They don't have to pay for it. They just take it over. What's come over Trump to do this? It's unbelievable. It's inconceivable even. Trump should act quickly and pull out their poisonous fangs. Put them all out of America to their pest hole in the Middle East. For no one wants them. They are loathed, hated, everywhere. That's what Trump should do. Not give them Gaza. So now, Terence will lead Imperium Europa. He is the new leader. He is keen, young, intelligent. Our movement is now in the hands of a young man full of energy, mani forti, mani giovani. And Norman Lowell, like an old soldier who fought the good fight, will fade away in the distance unless the people, reduced to serve them, can take no more and beg Cincinnatus to save them, as the Romans pleaded with him, and he saved Rome from the invading Etruscans. These naive people will plead on their knees for us to save them. Trid tiġi arkubtejk titalla bil-ħniena biex insalvaw hija poplu. U iva, mela le, on one condition. A referendum giving plenipotentiary powers to the president. Nothing less would do. I, for one, am not ready to be a rubber stamp president to a bunch of mediocrity squabbling over the same loot. Ġodak il-maqjel. They are there to make money, gaining small victories with their eyes ever fixed on the next election. They have no vision. We have a vision. We are the only movement with a vision. We are inspired, and we are for a great goal. A worldwide imperium. This is what makes us so different above all the rest. Extreme situations demand no less than extreme solutions. It is a common knowledge that a common occurrence in history that valid political movements are unrecognized by the vast majority of the people. Only perseverance and an unshakable will can achieve victory. Only we our movement, Imperium Europa, can save Malta and this naive population from extinction and obliteration. Our victory that will allow us to turn our island into that paradise it once was. This sacred island of Melita, a spiritual beacon for the coming, inevitable, unstoppable Imperium Europa. Ave!
Ave!
Terence will now give a short closing speech. Come forward, Terence. Here. Terence, I am presenting you with this swagger stick. It's a symbol of authority, leadership, and command. See that you merit it. Bravo, Terence. You may wish to say a few words.
Nixtieq nirringrazzjakom il-kol tal-li ġejtu llum. Grazzi ħafna lis-Sur Lowell tal-fiduċja tiegħu. Biex immexxi dan il-partit, immexxikom mhux biss bħala ċittadini iżda bħala soċjetà. Soċjetà li jekk naħdmu flimkien nistgħu nirnexxu. L-istorja tagħna tal-passat hija testament ta' dan u nixtieq inkompli nibni fuqha. Sarettant grazzi ħafna Lowell ta' żmien li għamilt f'dil battalja u għalhekk aħna il-core group nixtiequ li ngħaddulek it-titlu ta' Honorary Founding President u iva se tkun fil-keffa ma' Joe Biden. Però għal-qoddim kif qegħdin naraw is-sitwazzjoni qiegħda ddur, qegħdin naraw provajna niftħulu għajnejhom lil dan il-poplu sena wara oħra ma jitallimx u dejjem jaqa' fin-nassa li dejjem ikun wednielu. Di xi ħaġa li tinvolvi lilna wkoll mhux li biss bħala politikant bħala il-kap tal-Imperium Europa l-ġdid, iżda lilkom ukoll li jekk taraw il-poplu qiegħed jaża, speċjal fil-ħsibijiet tiegħu, ippruvaw gwidaw. M'intix ħaddawallu ħsibijiet u kif ġebu laħaq, imma ppruvaw gwidaw. Dik l-unika soluzzjoni li nistgħu nagħmlu biex il-ftit li qegħdin ninaqdu u nimxu il-qudiem biex nistgħu nippreservaw u nkomplu aħna minn aħna. Nagħlaq dad-diskors tal-lum. Grazzi ħafna tal-li ġejtu, neġa ngħidilkom Viva Malta, Viva Ġensna.